you ever speak to me like that again, better be wearing a cup.
Baby steps.
One break, I'm in
Okay, friends, let's everybody take your positions, please. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, rolling. Dave!
And
Dave!
Unchained.
welcome to Dave and Dave Unchained, a Van Halen podcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Dave.
And we are at episode 72, Dave. This is the last one of the year, so Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and Happy Kwanzaa. So whatever you celebrate, we are at the end of the road for 2021.
We made it, Dave. Made it another year.
It's hard to believe. It's unbelievable. We are coming up on the 2-year anniversary that we were in Vegas almost. It's incredible. And unfortunately, we're starting off with a little bit of somber news. My condolences to my partner Dave here. He lost one of his favorite rock stars, which is Michael Nesmith of the Monkees. So sadly passed away. He finally caught that train to San Antone. And he is no longer with us. He is no longer with us at 78. And the shocking thing, tell him the shocking thing, Dave. Why is it so shocking to us?
Because we just saw him less than 2 months ago.
Literally.
In concert.
Less than 2 months ago, or probably about, when this podcast comes out, about 2 months ago. I mean, and he was fine. He was great. He was wonderful. He was better than I expected. And he's 78 years old. He was Mike, totally joking around with Mickey, singing. And let me tell you something, a long set list. That was a extensive show for a man of his age, for sure. Granted, as Dave might have mentioned on another podcast, kind of Mickey helps him along a little bit. Not that he does anything. He does it very tactfully. He just sort of starts the song and kind of gets him going. So, yeah.
He's a master of that.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Mickey's a machine. But my condolences. I feel so bad about that. When I heard that, I felt so bad because, you know, there's only one monkey left, and that's Mickey Dolenz, and it's unbelievable. He lost one after the other here.
Yeah, somebody pointed out that Mickey has lost all of his bandmates in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's, that's very sobering.
Yeah, and he also lost Peter and Mike within 2 years of each other, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just tight.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
Really bad. And, that's very sad. So we have condolences out to all the Monkey fans out there, and those who grew up watching and listening to the Monkees are always a part of everybody's, at least our age group for sure, growing up watching the Monkees. They were such a key band in terms of the video medium. And, Mike, one of my favorite Monkees, if not my favorite. I always loved Mike and his quirky sense of humor. And he had a certain unique element to the Monkees band. And if you want to hear more about it, Dave, I listened to your podcast on the Classic Rock Album by Album podcast. I had a long drive, and I was saving it for a long drive so I could enjoy it. And I listened to it. It was fantastic. Dave did a great job. If you guys want to check it out, it's the,
thank you. That I didn't realize how timely that would be.
Yeah,
Mike was a quirky guy. In addition to being one of the Monkees, he had a founding hand in MTV. He didn't directly create it, but he came up with the idea, and he eventually sold it into what would become MTV.
Right.
He was an early pioneer of country rock, and I'm not a country music fan by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But something about his music and his lyrics resonated with me.
Yeah.
So he's got, like when Eddie Van Halen died, Mike Nesmith has a great body of work.
Oh, totally.
That we can listen to and it'll live on. So very sad to see him go. I mean, we knew he wasn't well. We knew he wasn't 100%. We didn't know. I don't think anybody was expecting this. So it is very sad, but his music and his video lives on.
Yep.
So if there's any other Monkey fans out there, we celebrate the life and legacy of Mike Nesmith, even though this is a Monkees podcast. So,
this isn't, you mean, a Monkees podcast.
I don't think, we haven't been this upset about a non-Van Halen individual passing away since Eddie Money passed away.
Yeah, Eddie Money was another one that was close to the heart. Charlie Watts. Eddie Money was, just heartbreaking and died at a very young age. He was a young man to die. But the thing is that a lot of these rock stars that we, grew up with and loved. Some of them are just unbelievable, like Paul McCartney, unbelievable, Mick Jagger, unbelievable, but some are just really dying early, And listen, not to make fun here, but speaking of rock stars getting older, Dave, I wanted to tell you, so I just saw Genesis the other night, and I went to see them at the new UBS Arena. So, great show, fantastic show. Now, Phil Collins sounded great, didn't look great. Although he's only 70, he gave off the appearance of a way, way older man. You'd have to realize that you look at Mick Jagger, he's like 78 years old and running around the stage, and Paul McCartney, 79, about to turn 80, and just still killing it there. And, Phil, I love Phil Collins. I'm a big fan of both Genesis and his solo work. And, I mean, he had to sit through the whole show. But not only sit, though, he just seems a bit physically deflated. It almost like someone pulled the air out of him a little bit.
Well, he's had some major medical issues. He's got some major stuff going on. So, I mean, really, if you're a Genesis fan, you're almost grateful.
Yes.
I mean, he is literally hobbling on stage.
Right.
Because whatever he has is, caught up with him. Mm-hmm. But he could still sing
and perform.
His son is playing drums for him.
His son is unbelievable. He's not good. He's fantastic. This kid,
that's what I've heard.
This kid is dead on the money. He's not just like getting through the songs. He's like the star of the songs. Like, you're like, holy shit. And he has a flavor. I always loved Phil's flavor of drumming. He's one of my favorite drummers, actually. Like, he has a certain sound to his drumming. His son has that same vibe. Just an unbelievable precision on this kid. And just so in the moment. And you can tell, like, he loves it. And he's really, like, engaged. You know what I mean? Like, he's super, super engaged. So it was really nice to see. I know it's a comfort for Phil to have him there. Now, Phil, I want to give him props here. Although he physically looks frail, he sounds great. He still has that Phil Collins sense of humor.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's very much performing. He talks to the crowd. He's doing different sing-alongs and callbacks and stuff. So he's totally Phil Collins. But it's like his body is not operating with him. But his mind and his voice and everything, his whole soul is still there. But I just feel for the guy because he looks like he's in pain. You know what I mean? I don't know if he is in pain, if he's just sort of like aching and he's getting older and his body's sort of breaking down a little bit. But I'll give you an example. Like when they were doing an encore, you're like, you're going to make the guy get up? You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
No, I know. But full props to the guy for going out there.
Oh, yeah.
Look, going out on tour is tough for anybody who's in decent shape.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you can only imagine what it's like for Phil. And for Mike Nesmith, it was the same way. I mean, he wasn't in the best of health. And there was actually talk, before the tour, like, is this guy going to make it?
Right, yeah.
And I'm sure they're saying the same thing about Phil Collins, but this is what these guys do.
Yeah.
And I really think they're like, I could sit at home and do nothing.
Yeah.
But I think I'd rather be on the road, and I'll take my chances there because I'm doing what I love.
Yeah, and it's so funny because Tony Banks and Mike Rutherford looked exactly the same. Maybe a little grayer, but they were like exactly the same. And unbelievable light show, unbelievable staging, and they have a monstrous video wall behind them that has unbelievable imagery to each song. And then, of course, the projection of the band on there as well. And it's just artfully done. Whoever is designing that show did a tremendous job. The sound is incredible. The set list was great, except, I always have a little quirks, me. I was a little upset they didn't play Misunderstanding, Abacab, In Too Deep, Jesus, He Knows Me, no reply at all. These are the ones I wanted to hear, but they did do a lot. So they did do a lot of songs. And did
right. But they reached down into their back catalog, too, into the Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, they reached some into that.
So,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, when you've got a catalog as big as theirs,
I know.
Something's got to go.
Right, but I have to say, Misunderstanding and Abacab, I felt really could have been on there. Like, you can lose Domino. And I tell you, one thing was interesting. They did Home by the Sea and Second Home by the Sea, which is sort of the instrumental afterwards. And some of the instrumentals, which I guess gave Phil a break vocally, oh, God, it was like wild because the band was going crazy. Of course, they have Daryl Sturmer on guitar, who also used to play with Phil Collins solo. Long time guitarist. He's incredible, along with Tony Banks on keys, and then Mike Rutherford on guitar, and then Nick Collins on drums. So, and they had a couple of guys backing up Phil on vocals, but it was tremendous, all live, nothing sequenced, just beautifully done. So it was a good show. I think they're done touring, actually. I think they're going to Europe, but this was sort of the end of the tour. But if you guys get to catch it somehow on streaming or anything like that, catch it, because if you're a Genesis fan, they really still have it, so it's really good. Anyway, enough other talk. We're on to Van Halen news.
Van Halen
news. Oh my God, Dave, I can't believe how much news we have from a band that doesn't exist anymore, but here we are.
I know.
Not only do we have news, we have controversy, and it's just crazy. So we're going to start off by holy shit. How many holy shit moments have we had in the past year? It's incredible. Another holy shit moment. David Lee Roth has added 4 additional shows to his upcoming Las Vegas residency at the House of Blues at Mandalay Bay. So originally, remember, he was playing December 31st, New Year's Eve, January 1st, New Year's Day, January 5th, 7th, and 8th. He has now added on January 14th and 15th and January 21st and 22nd due to overwhelming demand. Now, why did he add it on? Here's a clip from Dave.
David Lee here. I had no idea how many people wanted to see me go. Okay, that sounded wrong. All right, don't turn it off. David Lee here for the second time. I had no idea how many of you wanted to pay to see me go. So I'm putting more tickets on sale instead of doing the wrong thing and pissing more people off. I have industry professionals now ringing in telling me, Dave, at your age, you should be in the middle of your 3rd retirement. Did you watch Rocky movies? He's on his 7th. Same guy, Rambo, 5th. He's about 14 retirements ahead of you. Just when I get out, they drag me back in. Look, I'm vulnerable. I feel sensitive. If I sound that way to you, I'm in the middle of my 1st retirement. And I'm going to extend my world goodbye tour of Las Vegas at the House of Blues for 2 more weekends. Like any good fucking barbecue. Just like you would if you could.
As you can tell, he has added on these shows and he gave you his explanation. But let's be honest, a lot of people are pissed off.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
sure.
Yes.
Right, because everyone thinks, like, I'm going to the last show.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, once it was announced these were his last shows, and of course he was like, these are my last shows. That's it.
Yeah.
No more shows.
I know. And let me tell you who's crowing is Eddie Trunk. I told you what's coming next. The tour is going to be announced next. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you know what? I didn't think this was going to happen. So what do you make of this, Dave?
I feel bad for people who paid inflated scalp prices.
Yeah, I know.
Once they announced it's his last shows. And now, you thought you were going to Dave's last show ever, if that's the one you bought.
Right.
And now it turns out you're not. It's BS, quite frankly. It's very frustrating. I don't know why we're so surprised, because this happens all the time.
I know.
But it just seemed that Dave was so adamant that this was it, and everybody was like, ooh, it's got to be health reasons. He can't be too healthy. He must be on death's door. And now the guy announces, another set of shows. So I'm glad he's still playing and singing and all that stuff. But, man, it's just a really crappy way to go about it, right? And for him to be like, I didn't realize so many people, were going to pay to see me go. Come on, man. Come on. We know you're not that dumb, Dave.
I know. It's a little strange.